Okay, so let me know when you can see. Can you see my screen, Learntor?
Yep.
All right, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening again, everyone. And I'm so excited to be here today. So today we'll be looking at automated requisition solution, and my name is Amalola Alfred, as I've been introduced. So let's just see what we have. So today we'll do a recap of previous sessions. We're going to build a request form, and we will dive into Power Automate. So before, you might be wondering, okay, we're going to build a request form, then we'll dive into Power Automate. What exactly do we want to do? We want to build a um, our agenda for today is basically to build an automated requisition solution. So what is requisition solution? So in organizations, staff makes requests daily. They make, in fact, not daily, they make requests, will I say hourly, right? Regularly, staff make requests, and request is routed to different personnel in the organization. For instance, in, say, the sales department, when the sales staff has a request to make, it might first go to the sales team lead, then to the sales manager, then before it now be, say, routed to other people, say the management or the HR, right? And imagine a bank or an organization with over, say, 5,000 staff. So instead of doing paperwork and writing paper or writing requests and sending this request, via paper, and the paper might get lost. We might not know where the paper is, or somebody might just put the request on the table, your paper of request on the table without attending to it and all of that. And that is why we are using Power Automate today for the rescue. But before we jump right into that, we'll do a recap of other sessions that we've had. So in this particular Learntor session, we've had 5 classes before this class. So we started with starting code with 0 tech skills in Power Apps. So we started from foundation, from the basics, right? People that have never done anything at all in coding. Oluwatobi Yusuf introduced us into how to actually enter into the world of automating processes using Power Apps. Then the second class, we had Power Apps. So we entered into Power Apps and we looked at Canvas app in the Power Apps ecosystem. Then the third class, we delved into model-driven applications. So we're able to build model-driven applications. So basically, model-driven application is still inside of Power Apps, but it has a different interface. So you can request for the links for you to, that's if this class that you're joining is your first class, you can request for the link and you would check all these other classes because they are connected one way or the other. But however, if you've not joined any of these classes, then you're still good to go. So the fourth class, we did Introduction to Power Automate, right? So everything I'll be doing today is basically sitting on especially the Introduction to Power Automate. Then the last class, we add Automated Solution 1. And basically, if you've joined us from all of this time, then Power Automate is not new to you. So I'm not going to start from the scratch. But however, wherever you're joining from, you'll be able to pick and we'll be able to do this together. All right, so let's dive in and let's build an automated requisition solution. So what I'm going to show us today is not anything difficult, right? It is absolutely simple. If you follow me step by step, then we'll be able to do something awesome together. All right, so now I'm just going to go into my tab and I'm going to select one of my accounts here. So before I actually start writing, say where I want it to go, for you to be able to follow me in this session and for you to also be able to replicate all the solutions that everyone that has taught us, the first class, the second class, the third, the fourth, and the fifth, for you to be able to do that, you need a developer account. And I hope that if you're on this call and you want to join, you have a developer account. So what I want to do now is to navigate to my developer account. And from my developer account, that is where I'm actually going to create my form and I'm going to build the automated solution that we will be building today. All right, so what I've just done is that I chose my developer account. Let me just do that again. So this is my developer account. It ends with on Microsoft.com. So this is how you're able to know that is a developer account on Microsoft.com. And now that I've selected it, so basically I'm in that tenant right now. And now that I've selected it, I would go to office.com, right? www.office.com. Okay, so now I am inside of my tenant. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a form. All right. So instead of having paper and instead of staffs in an organization carrying paper all around, we are going to digitize that process. So we'll be creating an online form. All the employees need is a place to access the form. And this form can basically, they can have the link, or the form can actually be embedded in the SharePoint site of the organization, or even embedded in Teams. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select forms. And I'm going to go to new form. So I want to just build a simple form from scratch. So it's loading now. This is Microsoft Forms loading. And yes, so we're just going to play around this a little. The first thing that we are going to do is you want to give something that relates to what you're trying to do. What are we building again? We are building a simple requisition application. So say we just want to automate requisition process. We want people to be able to make requests without carrying paper around. So what do you think the name of the form should be? So drop in the chat box, If you're building this, what do you think that the name of your form will be? So I don't know if I informed us. Anytime I'm teaching, I carry everybody along. We are building together, basically, right? So drop in the chat box what you think the name of the form should be. So this form is to take requests. So what do you think the name of the form should be? All right, so I'm just going to say Learntor requests. I'll just say Learntor request form. Then you want to give this form a description. This form is to take, or you can say this form is to collect the requests of the staff in this organization. Right. So Learntor request form, this form is to collect the requests of staff in this organization. So feel free to make this English as better as you want it to be. All right, so the next thing we want to do now is we want to start building fields that we'll use to take in people's requests, right? So the first thing we are going to have is we want to get the name of the person that is making the request. So we have different field types. So we have choice, we have text, we have ratings, we have dates. We'll just select text. So we are just going to type in staff name. Staff name. All right. So I'm going to type in staff name, and you can just come and select text again. So the next thing I want to do after staff name is I want to be able to get the email, right? So you can just say staff email so that they will not put their personal email, staff email. Then just go on to the next. I want to take department. So for department, we will not use choice. Instead, we will use, so just delete this and choose choice. So we have a list of departments in an organization. So you don't want people to come and start typing. So anytime you're building a solution, you want to make it as simple as possible. right? Reduce typing if that would help. Basically, try to reduce typing as much as possible, reduce clicks as much as possible. So simple clicks, simple typing. So what we want to do now is we want to type in departments. So departments, and we'll just select some departments. So departments in Learntor organization, we will say marketing department, marketing, we would say IT, we would say HR. So another thing you can see is that form is actually giving me options, right? It's bringing suggestion ideas. So I've chosen marketing, IT, HR, and let's select training. All right. Now we will just put in another field. So the next field that we will just put is request types. So we want to get types of requests. So you're making requests. What are the types of requests that you are making? So we'll just say request type. Request type. So for the options, we can just say device renewal. So people from the IT might say, oh, my device is bad, I need a new device. Device renewal can be one of the requests. Research funds. Okay, we don't have, let's see. So we'll just pick request types that are peculiar to some of these departments, right? So let us say add fee. So for instance, or let me just say advertising, let's just say ad fee. Ad fee. So that's for the marketing. They need some amount to do adverts, right? Then let us add option. And say internet fee. So it's very possible that the IT guys are also requesting for internet fee. So you can just drop in the chat box what are the type of requests you feel that I should add to this solution that we are building together. So internet fee, and so we'll just leave it at these three. So add fee, internet fee. Yes, so add fee, internet fee. Then the next thing that we'll basically do now is, so we are done building our form. So what do we have on this form? We have Learntor request form. So this form is to collect requests of the staff in this organization. We have the staff name, we have the staff email, we have departments, marketing, IT, HR, training department. We have the request types, right? And another thing is you don't need to save because your form automatically saves. So you can see Learntor request form saved. Okay. So now we will go back to the home and we are going to open up SharePoint. So you might be wondering, okay, we just finished building form. What do we want to do with SharePoint? Now, each time people submit a request, you want to have a database, just a place where you can store all of the requests. And actually, when people drop in requests, their request is actually stored in responses. But you might want to just connect that to your SharePoint, right? So from here, what we're going to do is, this is my SharePoint site. And so this is what my SharePoint looks like. I have some sites here. I'll just select one of my sites, Omolola, and here I am going to come here and select list. So I am going to create a list from blank, and I'm going to just use the same name. So what's the name of my form? Learntor request form. I go back to here. I will just say Learntor request form. All right. So you can just come here, just because I don't want to have to type that again. So I don't want to type that again. So what I'm doing now is I will just copy. Okay, so you can see my picture just showed now is because you can actually add a picture to this form, right? So you can come here and upload a picture, add it to the form, but I'm not interested in adding a picture because I don't have the Learntor say logo. So if you have it, you have a logo of the organization you're building for, you can just come here and add that image there. All right. So what I want to do is I want to copy this and put it here into my SharePoint. And I'll create. So the next thing I will just do is I'll quickly create, I'll just replicate the fields. So I'll just replicate the fields in here. So what I'm basically just going to do is the same field that we have here, right? Staff name, staff email, department, request type. I will just duplicate that and have them here. But I'm going to add some fields and I'm going to be explaining why I'm having these fields. All right, so the first thing that we have is staff name. So SharePoint also works just similar to forms. Anytime you want to pick a particular column, a particular field, it's going to ask you for data type. So what's the data type? So for this one, because I'm moving directly from forms here, I'll just be making everything text, right? So the data type is text, and it will ask me for name. So what's the name of the column that I'm trying to create? The name of the column I'm trying to create is staff name, single line of text, save. So actually something is wrong with what I just did. Ideally, it's fine for you to actually type in staff name like this. There's space in here, right? But when we are developing, we would advise you to not put in space at all. So I can edit it, but I'd rather just delete this, right? I'd rather just delete this and create again. And you see how I'm going to type this one now. So next, I'm just going to use Pascal. I'll use Pascal casing. And Pascal basically means that, so staff, they're starting with capital letter, right? Then the name, there won't be any space. The name is also going to start with capital letter. So it's staff name, like this. And you save it. So remember, this is your database. And everyone, like the organization, the staffs, they're not seeing this database. So the next thing is email, right? So type in staff email. So I'm going to come here, click on the plus icon, select text. And I'm going to just type in departments, save. So you can decide to add column from here, and you can also decide to come here and add column, right? It's the same thing. And you can even rearrange. So you can drag this here, you can decide to drag this back here, however you want it to go. All right, so let's add another column and put in job title. Job title, save. Then we'll put in another column, add column, and type in request type. So we want to take in our request type. So the type of request, you can make it single line of text to request types. It's a request type. Save. Now, another thing we are going to add to this is approval status. Remember that what we are trying to do is we're trying to create a requisition solution. So anytime a staff sends in a request, that request can either be approved or rejected, right? So we would create an approval status. So a column to capture, was this particular request approved? Was this particular request rejected? All right, so we'll just select add column and we would now say, so we'll go to status, we'll go to choice. So we'll say approval status. So for your approval status, the type is, so the data type is choice. And we'll just type in approved, rejected, pending. All right, so another thing I try to do is I just make it as relatable as possible. So approved should be green. It's not necessary, right? But these are just part of the checks I try to put. So approved is green, rejected is red, and pending. So I can just say pending is yellow. Yes. And we will save. However, we still have our title here, and by default, when you create a SharePoint list, your title is required. So title comes with the SharePoint list. We didn't create title while we were creating, but title is always required. So what you're going to do is you click on this here icon, come to list settings, select list settings, go down here and select title. So what do we want to do again? Why did we come here? We want to make our title not required. So select no, that you don't want your title to be required, and click on OK. So another thing that you can do is to remove. So for me, I always remove the title because I'm not using it, except when I need to use the title. So I'm not using it. So I will just click on Learntor request form. It takes me back to this app, back to this, yes, SharePoint. Select title, go to column setting and go to show or hide column. Select, so you uncheck title. It means that I want to hide this title, right? So all these ones that are checked means that they are visible, they will be visible, right? But I want to hide it. It is still here, but it is hidden. And of course, we are not actually putting any data inside of this particular column. So select apply. All right, so we have staff name, staff email, department, job title, request type, approval status. Can somebody tell me what is missing on this particular list? So I have staff name, I have staff email, I have department, I have job title, I have request type, I have approval status. There's something that is missing on this particular list. So I'm just going to check to see what our responses are. So just type in the chat box. Let me open who approved it. David Odesoya says date. 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 Is it date? Is it date? I'm still waiting. Who approved it? More answers. More answers. I'm waiting. All right. So yes, date. So I want to be able to see the date. The date that this particular record is, I want to be able to see the date that this particular record is submitted. So we'll just select date and time. So we'll just select date and time, and we'll name it date. Include time? No, we don't want to include time. We just want to get the date, and we will save. But you might be wondering that on our form, because this is actually the form that employees are going to fill. So on this form, we don't have date. So how are we going to put date into, so how are we going to take the date? Yes, we're going to take the date, and I'm going to show you exactly how we will take date. So we have staff name, staff email, department, request type, and so that's what we have for our form here. Yes. And with all of this, we are done. So I told us that we can move this. So I can just move this somewhere. Yeah. All right. Yes. So if there's a need for us to add to this column as we build, right, we will add to the column. So anytime you're building a solution or you're trying to solve, so you should know that first you're trying to solve a problem, right? And you are solely in charge. So as you are building your solution, you would notice, you might know that, okay, I want to add this, I want to add this. Then another mindset that you should have is, how can I make this solution better? So as we are building together, we will look at, oh, let's add this to it to make this particular solution better. But we are almost there, we are almost done with automating requisition process in an organization. So what have we done? We have our form and we have our database. So the next thing we want to do is go back to the Office 365 tab that we had open and select Power Automate. So from introduction to Power Automate and Power Automate and building automated solution 1, you would have seen exactly how to actually, you would have seen exactly how to automate the process and all of that. I know that last class was taught to us by Olajumoke Toriola, and she walked us through how to onboard a staff into an organization. And Idowu Ibrahim also taught us introduction to Power Automate, right? So I'm not going to show us here the ecosystem of Power Automate, this studio. So this is basically the Power Automate studio, but we'll not be diving into this. You can just go back to the first Power Automate class, which is Introduction to Power Automate. Everything was captured. So let's just go to, now we want to automate a process, right? Let's go to create. So what I want to do is that I want to create a flow. I want to create a Power Automate flow, a Microsoft flow, and that is what will help me automate whatever data that will be submitted into my form. All right. So we select create. Now, when you select create, we have different types of flows, right? And Idowu Ibrahim also explained all of this to us. So what we will do now is we are going to select automated cloud flow. Automated cloud flow basically means that now anytime you're automating a process, we have triggers and we have actions, right? Triggers are what starts your flow. I know that it has been explained to us, but just because of the people that are just joining this session for the first time. So triggers start your flow. Actions are the other steps that happen once your flow is triggered. So automated cloud flow is how your flow will be triggered, right? So we have so many things, so many types of flows, right? So many things that can trigger your flow. Your flow can be triggered by time. I can say that every day, 11 a.m., let this flow run, right? But the flow the type that we'll be using today is automated cloud flow, meaning that we will be picking our data, the data that will be automating, we'll be picking it from a place, it's seated somewhere, right? And remember that how we are getting data from the employees we are getting it through Microsoft Form. So we will be saying that our trigger will basically be when a new response is submitted to where? To Microsoft Form. Okay, so you want to give your flow a name. I advise that anytime you're naming your flow, make it as simple as possible. So we'll name it Learntor requisition solution. All right, Learntor requisition solution. When a new response is submitted, and we select create. All right, so we have Learntor when a new response, when a new requisition solution, sorry, when a new response is submitted, the name is Learntor requisition solution. All right, now you need to pick the ID, the identification number basically, or whatever you use to identify your form. So what you need to do is click on this drop down. It will load all the forms that we have. So you can see Learntor request form here. Just select Learntor request form and you're good to go, and you start automating your process. So now, like I said, anytime you're building a flow, the first card is your trigger. So my trigger is when a new response is submitted. So whenever a new response is submitted, what is going to happen? Whatever will happen is what we'll be building together now. So you can see this pop-up that says add your next step. So it says add steps one at a time until you create the flow you want. So like I said, you are in charge. You're creating your flow. All right. So new step is we want to get response, right? We want to get the response of this form. Anytime they submit a data, anybody requests for anything, I want to get the response. So I will just type in response. So I just type in res, and I've selected Microsoft. So let me just do that again. So new step, I can just type in response, right? So you might have different type of actions that are recommended for you here based on response. It's different type of actions that have response. But remember that we want to get the response from where? From Microsoft Form. So if you select Microsoft Form, it will limit the actions to the one related to Microsoft Form. So select get response detail. And again, it's asking from which of the form do you want to get response details? So select the drop down and you will just select the name of your form, which is Learntor request form, and your ID. So your ID, now in Power Automate, we have something called dynamic content. It means that it is the content of some of the steps that you have put, some of the previous steps that you have put. For instance, this response ID that I'm going to select now is dynamic. It means that it is basically, for instance, we can have 35 employees in an organization. All the employees they will drop in their data. All right. We want to get the response ID of the data that was actually triggered. So Omolola Alfred, I submit a data, this flow will trigger. Once this flow triggers, I want to get the response ID of that flow, Omolola Alfred's flow that has been triggered. So we will select response ID. So this is dynamic content, right? And that's what dynamic content means. It is one of the properties of a previous step, all right? So response ID. And now, so we've said when a new response is submitted, give me the response ID. And the next thing I want to do is I want to create an item where inside my database, this database that I've created here. Okay. I'll just type in create, right? And where do I want to create it? I want to create it inside of my SharePoint list. So I'm just going to select SharePoint list. And you can see create item here. So I want to create an item, and it's going to ask me Where do you want to create this item? What's your site address? Remember that we have it in site Omolola. This is my site Omolola, and the name of the list is Learntor request form, and that's why you want to make your list, the name of your list, the name of your forms, the name of your flows as simple as possible, so you can be able to locate them, you can be able to identify them easily. So now that I've done this, you can see that it will just bring in the fields that I have on that list. So I won't put anything in title because I'm not using title. Okay. So what I want to do now is staff name. So I will be mapping the response that I'm getting from my form to my database. So staff name, you can see you just need to select it, staff name. Staff email, select staff email. Department, select departments, job title. So job title, go down and select the dynamic content of. Oh, we did not create job title. All right. So on our form, we did not create job title, and it's fine. We'll just remove it from the SharePoint list. So SharePoint list, I will just edit and remove it. So I'm removing job title because I don't have it on my phone. All right. So there's nowhere my data would come from. Okay. So I'll just keep that, and dates. My dates. So for now, we would come back to okay, let's just do it. So for date, you can actually write an expression and say date UTC now. So you that's basically, this is an expression. UTC now would give you the current date and time that to give you the current date and time that this record was actually submitted, right? And you can format it however, because it comes in a particular format, and you can format it however you want to format it. So we're going to come back to that if there is time. Okay, so UTC now, and request type. Map your request type. All right. So for approval status, we will not be adding approval status yet. So what have you done now? You have created, so you have brought in your form. You're already automating the response of the form. You are getting the response detail, and you are submitting all of the detail inside your database. So once somebody just fills the form, they don't know that you're already getting all the details that they filled into that form, and you're saving it somewhere for, of course, future reference, right? So you have this now. The next thing you want to do is that you want to create an approval. So anytime somebody submits all of this and it has saved into your database, what I just want to do is I want to I want to send in an approval to, so I want to send in an approval to someone, right, in my organization. So what I'm just going to do is in Power Automate, I'm going to type approval. Approval. Okay, so let us stop a little here. If you're still following me, say hi, hi, hi. And if you're confused at any point, type in confused, confused, confused. If you're following me, say hi. If you are confused, type in confused. All right. So let me just stop and see if, oh, hi, 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 hi. All right, all right, all right. Awesome, awesome. Good. So I have 3 people who are still following me. Okay. So let's go right in. So bring in your approval. So we'll select start and wait for an approval. And for start and wait for approval, you have approval type. So what type of approval do you want it to be? So we have everyone must approve. We have first to respond. So basically how all of this work is everyone must approve means that once you submit So this will work if you have more than one approval. So if you have about three people that would approve, of course, the approval will go to the three people. But for the sake of this demo, we'll just be using one person. So we'll use first to respond. All right, first to respond. And there are some columns there are some fields that you actually need to fill here. So title, you need to create a title. So when this approval gets to the table of the person that should approve it, they will see the title of the particular approval that is coming. So let's just say um, requisition approval, right? So basically, this is generic. You can just say all right, so let's just make this a little bit interesting and just put in request type. Remember that we already have some things that could be our request type. You can just say so you can say the title can be, okay, let's take this away. So the title can be request for, then put in request type. So once it gets to the table of the person, request for request type. So assigned to, I will just select myself, Omolola. So it's going to bring the name of the people in my organization, Omolola Alfred. So yes, I'm selecting Omolola Alfred. So what this basically means is once somebody sends in, put in a request for something, what will happen? I will get the response details, I'll create it in my database, and approval is going to go out. Request for this particular, whatever your request type is, that's what will show on the table of the person. So in this case, on my table, I will see the request, what you're requesting for. So assign to Omolola, and we can make it as detailed as possible. So you can just say, dear Ma, um, put in the name of the person. So staff name is making a request or is requesting. Is requesting for what? Is requesting for request type. So dear Ma, staff name is requesting for request type. Let's just say comma. Or let's put stop. Kindly So DEMA staff name, so it can be DEMA. Additionally is requesting for request type. Kindly review and action on this request. So you can let it carry anything, yours sincerely, or it's fine like this. And this is good. So the next thing we want to do is we want to update. So you want to update this item. So you want to update this item, or you might want to just bring this card here. Okay, we've dragged it down already. So we would need to remove some of the things we've put in here if we want to be able to drag it up, but it's fine. So we can just update our SharePoint um, list. So in here, just type in update. So what do we want to update now? We want to update the item. Want to update that particular item. So it's asking, what's the site address? Site address is Omolola. The list name is Learntor request form. The ID of this particular list is the dynamic content of the ID from create item. So I select ID, and the next thing is I'm not touching my staff name, I'm not touching staff email. You can see job title is no more here because we have removed it. What we want to add to this is approval status. All right. So our approval status is going to come, enter custom value. So our approval status is going to come from the outcome of the approval. So the outcome of the approval, that's what we're going to put in our all right. So the outcome of the approval. So that's what we're going to have in our approval status. So if it was approved, you have it here. If it was if is rejected, you have it here. So another thing that we will do is
Hi, Omolola.
yeah, hi.
Yeah, so some people are saying that the steps are a lot and they're finding it a bit confusing.
Okay, so that's fine. Let's just quickly do a recap, right? So we have just 5 steps. All right. The first step is when the response is submitted. So we have one step saying that which is your trigger. Remember that when a flow starts, it starts with what? It starts with your trigger. So when a response is submitted is your trigger, meaning that this flow is going to run whenever a response has been submitted. The second step is we are getting the response detail of what? Of the form of the response that was submitted. So all the response detail, we want to capture it somewhere. When we capture it somewhere, what's the next thing we are doing? We are storing it in our list, right? That's what this create item is doing. You're storing all the response from the form. You're storing it where? Inside of your database, right? So the only thing that we are not getting from the form is the date. And we made it as simple as possible. We just put UTC now here. That's all. Then the next thing we are doing is we have create item. Right. So that's create item. So the fourth thing, all right. So the fourth thing that we are doing, please confirm you can still hear me.
Yes, yes, we
Hello.
can.
Awesome. So the fourth thing that we are doing is the approval. Remember the essence of this is so that we will not keep carrying paper, right? We don't want to be carrying paper all around that people come and help me sign this. So you just want to automate the process. That's the essence of all we are doing. So the start and wait for approval is the main thing that we are actually doing here. So that's like our, let's say, our start step here. So we are saying that anytime you fill a form and you have stored the form in your database, what should happen? You should send an approval to who? To to anybody that you want it to be, right? For this particular process, I'm selecting myself as, so for you, you can just try it out. Make yourself the person that you are signing this approval to. So if you assign yourself, you will be the one to approve or reject. And we're going to see this in action, all of us, because I'm going to send the form link to the group. You fill the form and you see as it's coming and I'll approve it. Right. So this is not difficult at all. And now the last step, I was going to add another step, but because I don't want to confuse us, I will not add any other step. So update item, what we've just done is, remember that on our database we have something called approval status. So we want to see, was this particular request, was it rejected, was it approved, is it still pending, probably they've not actioned on it. So now see, automation is so beautiful. There are so many things that I can actually do with this. I can come here and say, whenever it's pending, right, give them 20 minutes, delay for 20 minutes, and remind them again, right? I'm not the one doing it, I've already programmed it. So once it's pending, they will continue getting reminder. They might think I'm the one doing it, but no, you're not the one manually doing it. Automation is doing it on your behalf. But we're not going to take this further. What we've just done, a recap again. We have a form where we are getting our data. We are getting the response of the data. We are creating all the response of that data inside of our database. We are storing it, and we now have an approval. So we are sending this particular data. So automation is just you automating your data. So you're sending this particular data to Omolola or Fred here, and you're updating your database with the outcome of Omolola or Fred's review. If she approves, she rejects, or is still pending. All right. So if you are still with me, please say hi, hi, hi. Let's see. If you're still with me, say hi, 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 hi. Yes. So oh, all right. Ife, thank you. Oh, provision. Of course, you have access to you're going to have access to this class. I'm with you, but it's my first time. That's fine. That's fine. So, what I want you to do after now is, like I said, this particular session, all of this that we are doing this is the sixth class, right? There has been five other classes before this particular class, right? So this is the sixth class, and if you go over this again, I didn't connect this particular class to any of the classes that we've done before. So what I've done now is, if you actually go over this class again, you'll be able to replicate everything I'm doing without you actually going through the remaining five. But if you want to really have in-depth knowledge, I would advise that you go to the first class, second class, third class, fourth class, fifth class, and this class, which is the sixth class. All right. So thank you so much. But continue dropping comments. I want to know what you think. Because the essence of this, the aim of this is that we help you start your journey into the tech world, right? We want to ensure that you really get this. Okay. So start and wait for an approval, and we have update item. So what we want to do now is we want to save this. We want to save this, but before I send you this form, I'm just going to come to my form and make my form required, because I want to ensure that people don't just skip any step. I want to make all these fields required. So we are getting to the interesting part. You're going to see this live. And another thing is, when you're building your flow and your flow fails, it's good, right? When it fails, we'll debug. Fails, you check, oh, why did this fail? All right, and you will solve it. You would, because all those errors will actually make you better. Okay, so uh, so I'm just making this required. I'm making it required. All right. So you can see that it's required because we have this red star, this red star, this red star makes it required. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm going to send the link. So let me shorten this link. So I'm going to send the link to the group now. I want you to, or only people might, let me say anyone can respond. Anyone can respond and copy link. Let's do it again so that we're just sure. Anyone can respond and copy link. Let's shorten the URL. Copy link. All right. So what we are going to do now is I am going to drop this link in the chat. Where's it? Yes. Okay. So I have dropped the link now. Don't worry, you have access to of you're going to have access to all of the classes and you'll be able to learn. So I've dropped this link. What I want you to do is I want you to open the link to this form, right? And submit, fill it, and let's see what is going to happen. Okay? Let's see what is going to happen. Yes, that's fine. Lola Adelore, you're going to have access to all the classes. So before we start filling, let's just ensure that we have our flow saved again, just so that we are good to go. So now, once you start filling, you're going to see your flow running. So let me just go to my flow and we will see our flow running. If it fails, you will see it here. If it's successful, you're going to also see it here. All right. Okay, Learntor requisition solution. So I need you to fill the form. I need you to fill the form. Fill it with your name, email, and all of that. So once you fill it, it will start running. So I see some people are already filling, and you can see that it is running. So let's see where it is, what it's doing, is it successful, is it failing, and you can pick it up from there. Awesome. So you can see that we have when a new response is submitted. So before we um, go and we finish this particular flow, let me show you some of the beauty of what we have done. So when a new response is submitted, right, you can see this is the form ID. Okay. I said get response of the detail. Response one, you can see the staff name. So from here, I can actually see the detail of the person that filled the form. So Adelore Lola, staff name, request type, device renewal, department marketing, staff name Lola, submission time. You can see the submission time and all of that, right? Create an item. All of this has been created where in our database. So let us actually see. Has it been created in our database? Come and see the beauty. Look at it. Lola, David Odesoya, Ifeoluwa Ojo, Rotimi Olubiyi. I don't have to go to where, I don't have to go to my form to start checking my responses. I can just come right here to my database. I can see as you are submitting. So go ahead and still submit. You can see everything you are submitting is captured. Where is this captured from? From the response of our form. All right. Staff name. The reason, so if I come back to Power Automate, this flow is still running. The reason it's still running is because it is dependent on me. So I have start and wait for an approval here. I need to approve this. So in Power Automate, there are so many ways that I can actually approve this. All right. This is May 11. This is approval. I can also approve from my Teams and I can also approve from my mail. But I'm just going to approve from here. All right. So approve. You can see, dear Mariam, how did I do this? Is requesting for internet fee. Remember that we used the dynamic content. So whatever name that they select, that's what will be here. So dear Mariam is requesting for internet fee. Kindly review and action on this request. Choose your response. So I'm choosing, I can say reject, I can reassign it to another person, but I will just approve and I would confirm this. Okay, so my response has been successfully recorded. Let's just go and approve that of this person. So I will approve some, I will reject some so that we can see. So this particular one is from Rotimi Olubi, is requesting for internet fee. Should I approve? Yes, let's approve it. Okay. Device renewal. Oh, we don't have money to renew devices at the moment. Let's reject this. Confirm. All right. Uh, okay. So request for device renewal. Dear Ma, Lola is because Lola is my namesake. I'm going to approve this. Okay. Do we have any other? So we have another one here. 715. Ad fee. Yes, we need to market our trainings. Gemma, so this is Remy Adeyeye is requesting for ad fee. Okay, confirm Remy. Done. Internet fee. Ifeoluwa, Ifeoluwa, Ifeoluwa. Okay. I have a friend called Ife, but I'm just going to confirm this because I have a friend called Ife. Okay, so yes, Ifeoluwa Ucho is requesting for internet fee. Let me confirm it. All right, so now let us just go to Power Automate my flow and let us see did our flow fail, or we can just come here and see approve, approve, reject. So this is loading, right? But we can already see that the flow, it has been updated with the response and the outcome of the approval. You can see approve, you can see reject. I rejected David Odesoya's device renewal. I approved that of Ifeoluwa, HR, internet fee. You can see all the details here, right? This Kingsley Olanike, at what time did they drop this? Okay, so if you come here, so you can see all these ones are basically they've been successful. These ones are still running because if you come here to approvals, I should be able to see, or maybe the approval has not dropped yet. All right. And so let's come back to Power Automate. And let's just go through it one more time. So Learntor requisition solution, right? I'm going to open one of these successful runs. So we'll just go through it and we'll understand again exactly what we did. Remember, we created a form. After creating a form, what did we do? We created a database to store the responses of our form. We came in here to Power Automate and we said, okay, anytime anybody fills this form, what should happen? Take all the data of that form, then get me the response of that, all the data. Basically, get me all the data that has been submitted and create an item in my database. So store all this information in my database, then send an approval to the person that needs to approve this particular requisition that has been raised, right? And also, I don't want my staffs to start typing dates. So I will just automatically get the dates of whenever they submit the request. What did we use for that? Is an expression in Power Automate. I just type UTC now. That's all. Update item. For update item, I'm saying that anytime they approve or reject or it is still pending, give me the what? The give me the detail of this particular approval card and update it. That's update my database, and that's the end. So you can make this form, you can make this flow more difficult. You can actually not actually difficult. You can make it more complex, right? And do more things like, for instance, we have on our form, remember that on this particular form that we have different departments. There might be HOD of different departments, 4 departments: marketing, IT, HR, training. You can decide to say, depending, let all of these requests not just go to Omolola. So she will not just use all her day approving and rejecting. Let's map each request to each team lead. You can do that, right? You can decide to so you can decide to map all of that to each team lead. So there are so many things you can actually do with Power Automate. You can make it as complex as possible. Like I said, you can say that whenever this is still pending, continue reminding the person, or remind them twice a day. Remind them in the afternoon, say around their lunch time, and remind them before they go home, so that they'll be able to approve this request. So because companies can come to you that they want you to automate their process, you need to be able to think, okay, like I said, you are in charge. You are in charge of automating your processes. You need to just first understand what you're trying to automate. Remember, what we've done here is we are automating what? Requisition request. So we are automating requisition. So we are automating requests. Any request that comes in, we just want to automate it. Get the data, store the data somewhere, send in approval, and store the outcome of the approval. Another thing I can do, you can even send an email back. You've given me your email. So immediately I approve, I can send an email back to you. Oh, Lola Aderemi, this particular request has been approved, if it was approved. If it was rejected, Lola Aderemi, your request has been rejected. You can do all of this. All right. And this basically brings me to the end of this webinar, this training for today. So thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, this training is actually the 6th and is rounding up this particular session of taking you into the Power Platform ecosystem. So like I said, we have looked at introduction to Power Platform. So you don't need to know how to code. The introduction is there for you. We looked at building an app. So what we've done today is automation, but we built an app using Canvas app. We have built a model-driven application. We have done introduction to Power Automate. What I just did now, we did the introduction, which was our 4th class. Our 5th class, we built a system that helps onboard people into an organization. And today, what did we do? We built a requisition solution, automated requisition solution. So thank you so much for joining us again today. My name is Omolola Alfred. If you have questions, you have things you basically want to reach out to me concerning this, my LinkedIn is Omolola Alfred. My Twitter handle is Omolola Alfred _ My Instagram is Omolola Alfred _ So basically, if you go on any of these social media and you type in Omolola Alfred, you would get to send me a message. All right. So thank you so much. Ife, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Omolola. The section was really, really insightful. Really insightful. We learned a lot. All right. So we might just be able to take one question, before we round off, because our time is fast spent. But before we do that, I'm sending a thank you post link on the chat box. So please, let's go on Twitter. Let's thank Omolola for this beautiful session. You can say for sure that she has really impacted us tonight. So please go on Twitter, thank her for this amazing session, retweet, connect with her. So please, let's do that. Let's do that now. Okay, so while we are doing that, Omolola, we have a question in the chat box. Ola is asking, can you automate a recurring email message?
Ola, can you just give Ola? Well, I can't see the message. Where's it?
Ola, please, can you unmute and ask your question?
Yes. Please unmute, ask your question, and let me get you. Recurring email. What do you mean by recurring email?
Okay, so thank you so much, Omolala. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for this platform. So what I mean is like a mail, like in my organization, the first day of every month, we need to send out a mail to request for some sort of presentation from certain people, and sometimes, I tend to forget it, and then maybe days have passed, and I just remember, oh, this mail hasn't gone out. So I'm just asking, is it possible to
Yes,
automate
yes,
such
yes, yes,
email?
yes, yes.
And so
It's
it's like,
absolutely possible.
okay, so that's what
It's
I mean.
absolutely possible. So, thank you so much, Lola. So let me just give you some, or let me just guide you a little. So basically, today we looked at the particular type of automation that we did today is cloud, right? There is a particular automation that can help you do this. So this automation, it will be triggered based on what? To be triggered based on time, right? Date and time. So you can say that this particular day at this particular time, 10 a.m. So you would have just programmed your email the same way we did today, right? Your email, you put out the body, the what's it called, the body, the title, everything you need to do. You put that particular day, the time, and at that time it goes out. So all
Hmm,
the people you want it to go to, you just put it there and it will be done.
okay. Using the
Yeah.
same form, using the same
No,
form.
no, 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 no. You don't need to use form now. So your
Okay,
process is different. Your own process is just going to start. Your trigger is not going to be form. Your trigger is going to be what's the name of that trigger again? It's basically just going to be time. It's time you're
okay,
going to use, right? And in fact, the steps you're going to do, I think it's just two steps. Number one is the time. Number two is the email card, right?
okay.
Time, email card, that's all. So it goes at that particular time. The email card is going to carry all the people you want to send the email to. You get. So the time, the email card. So immediately it is that time of that day, the email is going to go out to all those people. So just two cards and you are done.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, not so easy, I'm sure. But
It's actually, honestly, it's easier than what we just did now. It's very easy.
okay, okay.
Yes.
I'll say so. Maybe when you send the training from the beginning, then
All
we
right. But
can.
you can always reach out to me though if you
Yeah,
need
I will. I
if you need
will.
any direction. But it's very easy. Very easy.
Thank you very much, Manola. Thank you.
You're
Actually, I
welcome,
can see
Enola.
this is. I'm liking this, so I'm waiting to try a lot of stuff on it. So thank you to the organizers for making this happen.
Thank you, Lola. Thank you
Okay.
for being on the call. So I'm very big on celebrating our own because most of the time, it's okay. NEPA has happened.
No,
Uh,
no, 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 no. Actually, I need to. So I was using Jen. I need to switch to light.
okay.
I'm coming.
So please, can you click on the link there and just just type and follow her on Twitter. Say thank you to her. If you got value from today's session, that's all it will take. Just click on the link and say thank you to Lola for our contribution today. It's a series. The next series we are going to be embarking on is data. For those that are interested in data path, it's going to be till the end of the year. It's going to be strictly data, nothing else, nothing more than data. And I hope you're excited. So for us, it's a pain point. Everybody can learn everything at the same time, but we can do our best to make sure that you get the right learning, the right opportunity. Please don't just celebrate her on here. Go and say thank you on Twitter because we're going to close Zoom. Zoom is going to forget, but Twitter will never forget, and the internet will never forget. And on this note, I'd like to also invite you, if you're interested in learning tech, Agile, Scrum, data analytics, Kanban, that is what Learntor is known for. And please follow us on all our channel. I'll drop a link for you. Just save it as your contact. It will take you to all our links that you can find out where it is. Which other channel am I on? Okay, you're not on Twitter. We'll drop the link for you on LinkedIn as well. Ife, please, can you drop the link for her on LinkedIn? We have it on LinkedIn, we have it on Instagram, we have it everywhere. All right? Please just say thank you, and thank you for, so next time we'll always be dropping all the links so you can choose your preferred, because not everybody is on those links. Okay, so I'll drop our link. Please do save it so that you can get in touch with us and be in touch. Please, let's say thank you to Lola. That's the least we can give back to her. And you can see she's young. Even me, that I wanted to automate some of my processes. Honestly, just click on that link and save it as your contact, and it will take you to all our social channels. On this note, I hand over to Ife, and I want to say thank you to Lola. Please do not hesitate to follow us and save all our contacts. Have a beautiful day. Ife,
Thank you. Thank you so much, Learntor. Thank you so much, Lola, for this amazing session. So I've dropped the link to the LinkedIn post. So please, let's go on there and appreciate Lola. The session was indeed insightful. And also, let me share my screen. So Learntor Quad 7, it's going to be starting soon. So you can take that chance. For them, go through the link Learntor sent to connect with us and be a part of Cohort 7. Just like Learntor said, so we go through a lot of learnings, Agile, Scrum, business analysis, project management, CV review, a lot in store for us. So please, let's connect with Learntor, follow us on all our social media platforms. We also have an opportunity to get 2 months European internship work experience. So please connect with Learntor to have access to all of this. Yes, so thank you so much for coming today. You can help us develop Africa's tech talent. Connect with us, visit our website. We'll be glad to connect with each and every one of us. So for everybody that stayed to the end, because we started with over 30 people and we have 19 people here. So you all are the real MVP. Thank you so much for staying. So let's just keep up the energy and just be good. So yes, the recording for this session will be made available. So please just stay tuned. Yes. Thank you so much. So make sure you connect with us on our social media platform so you have access to all of this information. So I guess on that note, we can call it a night. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you, Omolola, once again for the amazing session. Thank you, Learntor, for the platform to learn and do amazing, great stuff. Thank you, everyone. Let's have a great night. Bye.